Okay guys, without further ado, let's do a video on the law of cosines. So, in the last video, I clicked on laws, cosines. The video automatically will pop up, guys. You don't have to watch the video, okay? And of course, I'm not even going to watch the next video, unless I really think I need to. I'm going to go right to the practice problems. So as you can see, I'm going to click right here in blue, the law of cosines, practice. Here's our first problem. They're asking me to find AB. I'm going to call that little c, since it's opposite of big C there, angle C. I'm going to call 16 my A, 5 my B. Now, what you have to remember, guys, just like with Pythagorean theorem, it doesn't matter which you call A or B. The C must be opposite of the angle. Okay? C, just like the hypotenuse, right? C must be opposite the angle they gave you. Okay? Sorry, I'm starting to lose my voice there a little bit. So, what is the law of cosines? It says c squared equals a squared plus b squared, right? Just like Pythagorean theorem, except we're going to do a minus 2 times a times b times the cosine of theta, which is that missing angle between sides A and B. So just for clarity, guys, whenever you're given a side, and the angle between, that's when you're going to do law of cosines, okay? So, continuing on, we're trying to find little c here. So c squared is going to equal a squared, in this case 16 squared, plus b squared, which is 5 squared. We're going to minus 2 times with 16 times with 5. That's your A and B, right? Times the cosine. And theta, the angle between them, is 61 degrees. Now, what's cool about this problem, of course, is we got all the numbers and calculations all on one side. So we're able to just do that in our calculator. Check this out. Here we go. I did 16 squared plus 5 squared. I minused 2 times 16 times 5 times the cosine of 61. Now, here's something else I didn't bring up in my other video that you're going to learn, is whenever you do certain functions, they're going to require you on this calculator to close the parentheses. So, that's one thing I figured out. So that's what you have to do. But anyways, all I did was everything right over here in my calculator, okay? Now, I press enter, and here's my answer. And what we have to remember is that answer is c squared. So what I'm going to do is do the square root on both sides, because that's going to give me c, right? It's going to give me the c. So all I had to do on my calculator is do square root. That's that button right there. It shows up as square root, or squirt, right, for square root. And notice I use the answer button. Get used to using that answer button, guys, because what it does is it types in that whole number for you, and you don't have to spend time typing in that annoying long number. But anyways, the square root is 14.26. I believe they want us to round off to the nearest tenth. Let's verify that. Nearest tenth. So I'm going to type in 14.3. I'm going to click check. I'm going to get it right. All right. So now what? Let's try another one. Now this one, guys, notice they gave me all three sides and no angles. If they give you that, guys, you have to use the law of cosines again. Okay? So, they want me to find angle B to the nearest degree. Here's angle B right here. Notice the 15 is opposite of it. That must be your little c, guys. Even though technically it's little b, we're going to call it little c in the formula. We'll call this A and B, or vice versa. Again, it doesn't matter which one's A or B. So what do I know? I know that c squared, that's 15 squared now, right? C is 15, has to equal the A squared plus the B squared minus 2 times with the A times with the B times with the cosine. Now theta this time, guys, is missing. That's my angle B. The angle between the two AB sides is always your theta. And so there's the law of cosine set up for you. Now what sucks about this one is, notice I have this number here and these numbers on the other side of it. And these three numbers are combined with the cosine. So I can't do it as directly as I did the last problem. So what I'm going to do instead is do 15 squared. 15 squared is 225. So 225 equals, and then, follow along, guys, I went ahead and I minus 7 squared and 11 squared from both sides. So as you can see, I minus the 7 squared, I minus the 11 squared same time, and I got 55. Okay? So what that means is 225, when I minus this and minus that, I get 55 now, equal to negative 2 times 7 times 11 cosine of B. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both sides by this number here to leave cosine B by itself. So cosine B is going to equal 55 divided by that mess. So if you notice right here, I took 55, I used the parentheses to bunch it together, and I did negative 2 times 11 times 7. Again, that's this right here, right? I'm dividing that into 55. That's going to give me cosine B. So I got negative 0.357 and some change. So I now know that this is negative 0.357 and so on, right? And to solve it, I'm going to do cosine inverse on both sides, because that's going to give me my big B. So when I did cosine inverse, I used that button right there, guys. But of course, on the screen, it's showing it as arc sine, or arc cosine. That's what it's short for, a cosine. But that's really cosine inverse, okay? And I'm doing it on this answer here. I use the answer button again. And there's my answer. Rounding this off, I'm going to say 111 degrees. So I'm going to come over here and type in 111. And I'm going to get the correct answer again. Pause the video if you need to. Okay, guys. So let's do one more. This time, notice, guys, they gave me a side with the angle between. This, by the way, is also called side angle side, if you remember that. Whenever you're given side angle side, guys, you do the law of cosines, okay? Whenever they give you all three sides, i.e. side, 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 as we call it, you're going to do the law of cosines. Remember that. So side angle side and side, 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 law of cosines, right? Now, so we have side angle side. This is the easier of the two, because they're asking for AC over here. That's what they're asking for, right? And again, I'm just going to call it little c, even though, again, it should be little b. And I'm going to treat these as my A and B's. Remember, A and B is on the sides of the angle given. Little c is always opposite of the angle that we're working with. Okay? So, what do we know again? C squared, which we don't know yet, equals our A squared plus our B squared minus 2 times the A times the B times the cosine. And we know that angle theta between them is 86 degrees. And I'm just going to type all of that, guys, into my calculator since all those numbers are together this time. Right? So that's what I'm going to do. Follow along. I switched my A's and B's. I did 11 squared plus 16 squared. I minus, watch the minus, 2 times the A times the B times the cosine of 86. Again, I had these switched, but no big deal. Right? It's still my A and B's in there. But I did do all of that there in my calculator, as you can see right there. And here's my answer. But remember, that's c squared. So that's why I'm going to do the square root on it. I did the square root of that answer. And there it is. I think they want us to round off to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to say 18.8. Pause the video if you need to, guys. So I'm going to type in 18.8. Right? And I'm going to click check, and I'm going to get the right answer. All right? Pause the video again if you need to, guys. So, guys, that's how you do the law of cosines. As you can see, I did get 4 out of 4. That's what we did together. I'm now going to click on solving general triangles. Okay? And I move on from there. So, guys, hopefully the video made sense. Hopefully you're practicing with a calculator like I am doing myself. So I'm not being a hypocrite here. Learning how a little bit clunky it is and how it works. Okay? But again, this is how you do the law of cosines, guys. And I'll see you around.